Howdy, Possum Patty here, along with Mr. Sunshine and little TT. And little TT's here too. It is a sunny day, but very, very windy, and the chill factor is going to go down to about minus 25 tonight. Brr. Anyway, we're inside, we're staying warm. Hopefully the wind doesn't knock down a tree and take out the electricity tonight. We ran out to do some errands, and on the way back we already saw one tree down and a few tree companies working. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the electricity doesn't go out. It's going to be very, very cold here tonight. Anyway, it's Friday already. Can you believe it is Friday? No, I can't. It seems like I just did a flip. Ooh, see what it's done. Ooh. Seems like there we go. Seems like I just did a flip through of my first Jane Davenport canvas journal. Now these journals come with a blank white canvas as the cover, and you get to decorate it. On this one, I did a little mixed media. I put some images from an art book and some acrylic paint on there. And on this one, I did some more, with matte medium. It's a journal, so I put tall tales, journey, deep thinking, genius, of course. What's that one? That one says, why did I decide to start a diary today? Why did I decide to start a diary today? Hidden diary and keeping it weird. And there's some book pages and things behind that. I'm sure it's got some matte medium all over it. And this side says, indelible images, the book, cut and paste, story, splash and dash brush strokes. Just a little mixed media on there with some, looks like it's got some metallic paint on there too. It's kind of shiny. So let's get into the second art journal. So I started this one in August of 2018 and did a new moon energy page. Kind of cool. This one also has some shiny bits on it. Oh, this is when I lived in Pennsylvania and we were having a infestation of these beautiful lantern flies, which came from South Korea. And they're beautiful, so colorful, but very destructive. And with any invasive species, there are no natural predators, so that, they just kind of reproduce uncontrollably. And they had a campaign in Pennsylvania, Berks County, where if you saw one of these, you're supposed to step on it. So I felt really bad. I stepped on this beautiful lanternfly because I was told that I must. And it was... they were destroying the fruit orchards and everything. It was really bad. And so I went to visit my friend who lives in a retirement apartment complex. And when I got down there, there were all these senior citizens out in the parking lot, and they were all kind of going like this. And I'm like, what are they doing? Were they out in the parking lot dancing? Because their feet were, moving around like this. And then when I pulled in and talked to them, there were these lanternflies all over the parking lot, and they were stepping on them. They were doing the lanternfly stomp. Yeah, too bad for the lanternflies, but they were destroying the farmer's crop, so I guess they had to go. There was a sun shower. If I looked towards the east, the sun was shining, and I looked towards the west, and it was raining. I haven't looked through this in quite a while. I don't know what's in here. Farmer's Market Day. and I bought a yellow canary melon from Lancaster. The farmers down in Lancaster, Pennsylvania grow the absolute best cantaloupes and honeydews and different melons, and I thought I would try this yellow canary melon. It was green on the inside like a honeydew, and honeydews are my fave. Oh, I put here a little note. A honeydew melon is the food of the gods. This is close. Oh, and here's a little cobblecat kitten. We had a barn, and we had several cats and kittens out in the barn to control the rodents. That was a really cute one. On August 17th, we got some chestnut trees. All the chestnut trees, all the American chestnut trees were killed off with a disease. If there's some really old ones around, they'll grow to a certain point and then start dying back again. So there's this company that has been crossing the American chestnut trees with a Chinese chestnut tree, cross-breeding it back and forth to get a species of almost American chestnut tree that is resistant to the disease. And I said, first chestnuts were spotted on Mom's birthday. So we had bought a few and planted them in our yard in Pennsylvania. We don't have any here in Connecticut. But these were sold mostly to deer hunters to put out in the yard, because I guess this can be a favorite food for deer and other wildlife critters. A cool gray day, but the black-eyed Susans are the color of sunshine. Little sketches. I have to start doing more little sketches. Ocean ecology at the North Museum, Lancaster, with Carol and Pat, August 18th. So I worked with a few friends of mine. We did nature journaling with the children and adults, whoever would stop by at the table at the North Museum, which is at the Franklin what? What's the name of that? I had to look that up. It's the Franklin and Marshall College in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So, yeah, we were volunteers there, and we did nature journaling. So this day we're talking about ocean ecology. I love how I splatted all over the page here. Let's see, I watched a noisy redtail fly up into a branch. So there aren't two of them. I'm supposed to be showing that this one's flying up and lands on the branch. A yellow primrose on the side of the road. Yellow blooms open on this gray day. Oh, it's a tall evening primrose. It has 4 petals. What's on my mind? Where have all the destructive Japanese beetles gone? There is quite a bumper crop of Scolia dubia something, blue-winged digger wasps flying low to the ground in my yard these days. The female burrows into the soil, lays an egg on a beetle larva. The beetle is consumed as the wasp grows. Perhaps this native wasp is my beneficial of the year. Very shiny. Interesting, interesting. The green frog popped his head up and made an appearance today. Haven't seen him in a while. I thought the garter snake had him for dinner. I also noticed there was one lily pad growing above the pond surface. Why is it doing that? Well, because usually the lily leaves of the lily are floating on the water, and this one was above. And this was a little tiny, tiny plastic 18-inch deep, not very wide, maybe 3 feet wide, pond that Mr. Possum put in for me out by my greenhouse. And it attracted all kinds of wildlife. I had frogs in there. I put little tiny fish in there, and snakes and birds, and it just attracted a lot of wildlife. Not very deep, though. I had a milkweed plant, and this is a positive sign when you see your milkweed plant being eaten like that. That means that the baby monarch butterflies are there. And the stages of the caterpillars are called instars. So you can see how it grows and grows. And here's the milkweed pod down there. And this was a strange cocoon. Eastern tiger swallowtail chrysalis on the wire guard around the chestnut tree. Looks like a dried up leaf. Titi's trying to climb up into my face here. And the little silk threads are holding it to the fence. Flowers of the moon, full sturgeon moon, lunaria seed pods in the garden. So this is called like the moonflower. It's a lunaria, luna meaning moon, and it was a full moon. And in the yard I had some eastern swallowtail butterflies and a fritillary butterfly. Greeted this morning by a golden dragonfly that invited me to explore my emotions in a light and joyful manner. I love it. Okay, nature CSI. So we have a nature scene investigation. I was taking my mother for a walk. What happened here? A ball of black fur on the side of the road did not have any smell in it. It had a bit of white in it. Did a skunk crossing the road get whisked away by a great horned owl? Great horned owls love to eat their skunks. And there's just this ball of fur there. I put some gold on that dragonfly. Dark red Tupelo. Dark red Tupelo leaf, yeah. I found that on the ground today, and that was in August. The end of August, that's when the trees start changing. Connecticut sugar maples, by the end of August, already start getting these really bright yellow, red, and orange colors. The maple tree has the wisdom of balance, promise, and a practical magic. I saw some yellow prairie cone flowers over 5 feet tall growing next to the walk. Oh, this was the condo we had in Connecticut. The woman next door had planted these. They were over 5 feet tall. Went to a family picnic along the Farmington River, and we were in this grove of trees. It was September 1st, which is the start of the meteorological autumn. And this is me. September 3rd, my enemy is legion. Lantern flies just flying everywhere. And then I got a moon down here. September 4th, the moon was shining in the sky at noon. So when the sun is in the sky and there's a moon in the sky, I call it a consolar lunarity. They're both there. We drove by a farm that had some sunflowers there, just doing a little journaling. I got some sparkly iridescent paint in the background, though. September 4th, the sign of energy, action, and desire is bright in the southeast. It's a steady red light, reminds us that Tuesday is Mars Day. So Mars was shining bright on that evening, and my grandniece was born. A soul just new to the world today will be active, brave, enthusiastic, impatient, courageous, and sometimes a bit too fiery. She was born under that sign of Mars. And yes, she is. Summer of pink lilies at the Frog Pond. Feel her optimistic spirit of all that is true and beautiful in the world. Receive peace, good fortune, and enlightenment from the lily. Oh, here's a wild character, and sometimes I draw a hurricane. And this one was Florence. Stormy Florence blossoms as she dances across the Atlantic Ocean. Well, that was fun. And here I have a plant growing out by the compost pile. And this is lady's thumb, and they call it lady's thumb because there's like an ink print on the leaf that looks like somebody had left a thumbprint there. And it says, leaves and young shoots may be eaten as a leafy vegetable. And if you mix this with alum, you get a yellow dye. I had some alum. I'll have to remember this next summer. I forget everything. You know, it's really good to go back through your journal. You write down things so you don't forget them, and then you don't read your journal, right? So if I pick these lady's thumb, red shank, sometimes it's called smartweed, and I mix it with alum, I'm going to get a yellow dye. Oh dear. These were sunflowers just about to bloom, and the deer ate all the buds and the leaves off the plant. And then down here, I have what a jack-in-the-pulpit looks like in the summer. They bloom in the spring, so they've got old leaves, and then there's berries, and the berries fall out on the ground. So this is like the jack-in-the-pulpit there, all smushed. And there's the, only the fruit is left. And apparently some animals do eat jack-in-the-pulpit fruit. The middle of August, and the Canada geese are queuing up in their signature V formation. And this is them. They landed on the ground in the apple orchard across the street. So there, more and more were gathering up in the apple tree, under the apple trees. Here's the anniversary of September 11th. It said they were, I'm just remembering that day. I just took 2 painty papers and glued them down to represent the Twin Towers, put a blue background. And I was just remembering that the sky was silent for 3 days because they grounded all the airplanes, and wondering if having no contrails in the sky to reflect the sun's rays caused a rise in temperature. This month has had a not so usual heat wave and rain, September 2018. This is my water overflowing to 7 inches of rain. And it was September, but we had a heat wave in the 90s. A heat wave and rain. Here are some little critters. Oh, we had a big black cricket out in the garage, and a grasshopper. The grasshopper is a sign hopping into my life to bring joy and happiness. All right, so there's a good sign for that. And back at the North Museum, now these are real monarch butterfly wings. I found these in the garden, which means a bird or something ate the butterfly and left the wings. This day at the North Museum, we were doing bees and birds. And this is my favorite, the barred owl. And it sings, hoo hoo, who cooks for you? Who cooks for you all? I was with Pat and Carol that day. Some people walk in the rain, others just get wet. A famous quote from Roger Miller. And there's Possum Patty dancing in the remnants of the Hurricane Florence that day. I got some sparkly rain going on there. Not too good at drawing bodies. And this is a copy of a poster that my sister sent me. And it says, optimism is a choice. Now, if you look at it this way, this is what the poster was like. The turtle was upside down on his back. But the way he's looking at it, he's looking up at the sky, right? Not at the ground. And he's like, I'm flying, I'm flying. Optimism is a choice. That was the last day of summer. Now we're into September. Cute little chipmunk here. Oh, I was visiting my friend Jane, and the chipmunk was at the bird feeder. And I saw a sawfly larva on chives. And it kind of looks like a caterpillar, but it's not. This is related to ants, bees, and wasps, not butterflies. And here is a lot of people don't like this picture because they say it looks too real. But in the garden, I frightened 2 wolf spiders while weeding in the mint patch. And there was some liverwort with splash cups and a flower pot by the frog pond. Nature place. We're doing some nature journaling. This was a nature journaling workshop, actually, that I was giving to a few people. And we pick up something, and what does it remind you of? And looking at this nutshell here, it reminded me of the face of an owl. And what did you hear? There was a noisy factory nearby. There was a nice breeze. We heard the running water. We looked down. We found these nuts that have been chewed on. Oh, and this is continuation from another page, a story from another page, because I had this page was blank down here, and I was writing a story at another page, and I ran out of room, so I went back and I filled it in with this. I put story starts on page 87. I just made up those page numbers because that's what they have in the book. So at this nature journaling workshop, we were down by the creek, and I sketched some cattails. The leaves were turning over. And this was nature journaling at Nolde Forest. And a lot of colorful little leaves that day. The maples, the big tooth aspen, the oak. Oh, I was practicing on writing script with watercolors and the paintbrush. And it's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I forgot all about that too. This came out nice. Big tooth aspen. You have to be kind of loose when you do it. So those are my leaves. Here is a jumping spider. I put that in there for Halloween. We're doing spooky science at the North Museum. I saw this pumpkin head character, I think, on a vintage card somewhere, but I love these cats. That vintage cat face is so cool. And I kind of wrote with wiggly lines about the jumping spider. A lot of people actually keep jumping spiders as pets, which is interesting, I thought. And here is a fat bird on a page, and it looks like I did this with acrylics. I think there was a different bird on this page, and then I painted over it, but the head looks kind of small for the body, so I don't know. Whatever. I took a sketchbook course with Linda Marino at the Cheshire Library. And I had a laugh because what we were doing reminded me of sketchbook school, and she had attended the sketchbook school too. And a lot of it was reminded me of Danny Gregory and the way he did things. I was talking about Danny Gregory in one of my videos the other day, and I posted one of his videos on my community tab. But we just did some loose sketching of some fruit. And here we are in Connecticut now. Now we've jumped up to Connecticut, and it's 44 degrees, and I'm taking a walk around the yard. Animal, plant, mineral, what can I find? And these are just a bunch of plants and mosses and ferns, lichens that I found. Trying to identify. I had just moved here. Let's see, in March. I'd only been here a couple of months. So I was trying to identify some things that were growing out in the yard. And this is super fun. I love this page. I took all different kinds of mushrooms and made up this little fairy mushroom village. Now this is an earth star, and these are morels. Oh, what's this called? This is called a gem-studded puffball. So these are, over here are the real mushrooms, okay? So these are little sketches of the actual mushrooms and what they look like. Little puffball there, earth star, okay, scaly inky cap, hen of the woods. So I took each one of these mushrooms and incorporated it into this little fairy village here and made little mushroom houses. There's stinkhorns back there. So, got mushrooms growing on the tree there, little coral mushrooms there. This was so super fun. I love getting whimsical with my journal. And this is a cat that's sitting in my lap right now. And look, I put the cat in my lap, so I was sketching the cat in my lap. And guess what? She's there right now. See, I'm not lying. Here she is. The cat in my lap, she does have big green eyes. And there she is all snuggy in her blanket. And I was playing with some Derwent metallic pencils here, water soluble. Bird watch. When we first moved here, I was making a list of all the different species that I saw on the property because I had done that back in Pennsylvania. I got 21 species on this page, which I continue this in another book though. Making a list of the dragonflies and the different butterflies. There's the dragonfly, and this is my grandniece journaling in my book. Love it, love it. And I was visiting her this day, and I was drawing her pictures, and while I was drawing her pictures, she was helping me with the colored pencils there. She was 20 months old. Let's see, I was waiting for Mr. Possum at the dentist office, and I was sketching some chairs while I was waiting for him. There was no one in the office. That was colored pencil. And these are the metallic colored pencils. I made some space rocks. Some space rocks. Very cool. And this was Derwent watercolor pencils. The tip dip method. You dip the tip of the pencil in water and then color with it. It comes out very bright. At Cabela's Outdoor Sports store, they have all these animal specimens stuffed. This is a contour. I think this is this a single line contour where you draw and you don't lift the pen, you just keep going in one line, one continuous line, and you never lift the pen, because see, I made all this squiggly to get up to the eye, and then from there I went here, around, did the leg, white rhinoceros. Autumn Magic, How Beautifully Leaves Grow Old, which is a quote from John Burroughs. Look at that sparkly, sparkly, sparkly leaf. I gave Mom a manicure, and I drew her hand, and I asked her if she could hear the wind blowing the leaves from the trees. This was in September, and she said, I don't know what I hear. The days grow short when you reach September, from the song. And this is a place in Connecticut called Gillette Castle. And it's a stone castle that was built by an actor who played Sherlock Holmes on the stage. It's a very cool place to visit. And in the corner of the porch, there were these dragon heads made out of stone. Lifebook Summit, charcoal and gesso. Black and white selfies. So I guess you sketch with a charcoal pencil, and then you take the gesso and sort of work it comes out gray because of charcoal pencil. Interesting. Interesting selfies. Back at Cabela's, unfinished African elephant. So I started sketching the elephant with a black pen at Cabela's, and then when I got home, I added blocks of gray acrylic paint marker, and white gesso was added after. And here's Miss TT. She got Hero Cat Award of the day. She got an extra treat this day. There's a long story here, but basically the cat was jumping up and down on my head in the middle of the night, and I took her off the bed, and usually she stays off, but she jumped back on my head. I took her off, she jumped back on my head. I was awake, I got up, I walked around the house, wondering what was up with the cat, and there was an alarm down in the basement that was just beeping, and there was a woman's voice saying to change the battery and the CO2 alarm. So she got an extra treat for waking us up because something unusual was happening in the basement. And this is over at the casino, Foxwood Casino, and in this foyer they have this statue of a Native American with a waterfall. And this was Old Home Day celebration at Canterbury Green. And this fellow was singing and playing the guitar, and I just sketched him with a blue pen there. Launch of the Mayflower. I'm describing the launch of the Mayflower 2. It was refurbished at Mystic Seaport, and then they sailed it back up to where it's kept, somewhere in the Boston Harbor, I guess. This one, just some little landscapes. This is from the deck. My favorite color is October. Oh, I love that with a little fall palette. And this is the landscape out the bedroom window. This story, it's not really page 87. I just make that stuff up. See, page 94, page 87. Yeah, then it goes on to page 101. I was just being silly and just naming the pages different numbers. This is a fishing spot near us called Diana's Pool. And I'm trying to do a landscape. I do some more on another page. It's a long story I wrote. Now, when I started that, there was... Where did I start that? It's on another page, I guess. We took a tour of a Creamery Brook bison farm, buffalo farm. And there was a young bison there, female, who was raised with people and cows, so she would not associate with the other buffalo. She was funny. All right, so here's the pond. And this is my black and white sketch of the pond. And here's one with a little bit of color. And then this one I'm blocking in the shapes. Because I did this, and I really didn't get it right at all. But I don't have a lot of practice with landscapes. So I took the picture, and I came back and was trying to follow the way different people block out their landscapes, doing a little sketch and pencil, putting in some color, showing the blocks of the different colors there, just trying to learn how to do landscapes. And we had gone to Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween. The old Burying Point Cemetery, Salem, Massachusetts, 1637. I made this little pocket in the shape of an old-fashioned gravestone. I got a sweatshirt, my purple sweatshirt that has the waxing full and waning moons, and they stand for the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And this was our ticket to the Witch Dungeon, the Witch History Museum, and the New England Pirate Museum. 2020. Put those right there in the gravestone, the gravestone pocket. Stonewalling. All right, out in front there's a stone wall, and then there's this black pipe so the water can run in a trench alongside the road instead of over the road. And I put in a little troll in there. So what I did was I put the troll up here in the tree, and it says, "I'm a troll." And there he is living in the tree. And then down here, he's building the stone wall. And I put, "That's what I do." Stone walling, get it? He's building the stone wall. The troll, I'm a troll. That's what I do. Stone walling. Anyway. Yeah, did that. And here we have food. Pumpkin bread, muffin, baking mix, gluten-free. My favorite flavor is October. So my favorite color is October, and my favorite flavor is also October pumpkin bread. And this is somebody's mailing address there. Just a buffalo sketch I did on the cover there. I'm thinking, okay, I have this whole story in here about the Mayflower 2. So where is, but I don't have the picture of the Mayflower. It's probably in another journal, but here's a copy of it down here. So this is a printout of a journal page. Story starts on page 87, journal page. Oh, it's in the Strathmore Mixed Media number 11. Oh, I actually wrote down where it was. Strathmore Mixed Media number 11. And there it is. We ask for the blessing of the water. Mayflower 2, Mystic Seaport. Story on page 87 in the Jane Davenport Canvas Journal number 2. But this is just the back end of the Mayflower ship. A lot of fun journaling in this book too. All right, but we're not doing this book today. We're doing this book. And I'm sorry that took so long, but I was having a really good time just going back and really looking closely at every page that I had done in the past. And Stinky Winky Woos is banging on the door. So thank you for coming along. Today and last Friday for a tour through these two art journals, which are kind of like sketchbook, nature journaling, daily journaling, art journaling, whatever I'm in the mood for. And don't forget to visit our host, who is Kristina, down at Kristina's Shack for hashtag Flip Through Friday. Bye-bye.